Hey there, we are back again. We did a video not that long ago, and then the All-Star break came, but we are back. It's been an up and down summer for sure, but hopefully we can get a little bit more consistent with these videos and help you win. Even when we're not crunching out videos, though, we are still giving out picks and helping people in our Discord. You can take advantage of that for just $5.99 a month if you hit up our Patreon, and that grants you access to the Discord. That includes MLB DFS picks and stacks that we finalized before the slate. Taylor's doing that today. And it also includes WNBA, MMA, and of course NFL and NBA when those seasons roll around. All right, so today we're just going to go over every game here, break things down, look at the top stacks and the pitchers, and see who we like. All right, let's get to it. Taylor, first game up here, we have the let's see. Okay, the Giants are in Toronto taking on the Jays. Justin Verlander taking on Toronto. Chris Bassett on the other side against the Giants. This doesn't really seem like a spot where I want the pitching. What about you?
Not really.
What about the bats? You want to pick on JP? It looks like Toronto's popping a little bit.
I'm not really interested in that either. I think San Francisco a little bit because they're cheap or across the board. The issue is Chapman and Devers are both third base, which is not ideal, but a little bit cheap. So I think that's okay, like a mini stack of that. But this game in general looks pretty bad.
It's true. Giants do get a park upgrade, and lefties against Bassett is a thing. But yeah, I agree. It's just like there's a lot of games here, so it's not really the spot that I feel like we have to go after. Moving on, we got a game in Marlins Park here. The Marlins hosting the Royals. Sandy Alcantara looks pretty interesting as an SP2 at 6K. Not that interested in it if he's going to be popular, but he gets the Royals who do not strike out. And then Seth Lugo against the Marlins on the other side. They also really don't strike out that much. I think like the pitching's totally fine. It is a pitcher park. You can do it. Like in a vacuum, Alcantara does look good at 6K, but there's a different guy in that price range that I kind of like a little bit better. How are you feeling here?
I definitely like him the most among the cheap stuff. Just like he's better than he's been. I don't expect him to be like peak form Alcantara like right away, but you don't really need that at 6K. So I think he's totally fine as an SP2 in any format. I also like Casey against him. I like him in good strikes or weight and walks up. Kansas City's cheap. So like from the whole and potentially 4K or less. So playing both sides of the Alcantara Kansas City thing, not playing any side of the Miami Lugo thing.
Yeah, so he's not really even Sandy's not really even pulling ownership. Are you betting the over or the under on that one?
What is it?
It only says 6%. I don't know if I believe that.
Well, he's been horrible, so I feel like people are going to see that and not want to play it. I will have a lot more than that myself. I don't know about the field. I would probably take the over slightly on 6%, but I guess he's not going to be major chalk. So Kansas City doesn't look amazing if they're not like major leverage, but I still think they're a pretty good stack.
Yeah, I think I'm totally fine with that. I think for me, the Sandy thing comes down to price and park. So like whether his recent form is kind of irrelevant to me just because we're getting a lot of value there. But if the ownership spikes, I would have interest in pivoting away from him and of course hedging a little bit, getting some leverage with the Royals. All right, Nick Lodolo taking on the Mets in New York. That feels bad. Sean Manaea taking on the Reds. That feels better. I don't think Manaea is that cheap though, which is a little disconcerting. But yeah, nothing here really stands out to me. I just don't really want to play Lodolo against a stacked Mets offense. If I did anything, if there's anything that really stands out, it would actually just be the Mets and specifically the righties.
Yeah, I don't think anything stands out. Bad park for hitting, not great matchups for the pitchers or the hitters. So this game, kind of like the Toronto one, is really not on my radar at all.
Yep. Next up, we got the Guardians hosting the Athletics. JP Sears is kind of the guy I was alluding to. If you're not going to play Sandy, I do like Sears rather. Not really because I like him, but because the Guardians are so bad against Southpaws. Then you have Slade Ciccone here against the Athletics. You could really look at that one either way. I guess I'd lean Athletics, but I guess if they're going to pick up ownership, I would maybe consider going the other way.
Yeah, kind of like this is similar to Alcantara and the Royals. Right. I think Ciccone is totally fine as a glass now pivot at 7,800. He's been good. Cleveland has a way with pitchers. They get the best out of them. And since arriving, he's been pretty solid all around. So I think he's decent. The A's strike out a good amount. They do have power, of course. So Oakland against him looks totally fine too. Like Kurtz, Rooker, Butler, Jacob Wilson to a lesser extent. I think they're a decent stack. I could see Sears getting steam. Like people see the Cleveland lineup and how bad it is against lefties, and he's cheap. I'm not really on it. I just think Alcantara looks like a slightly better play, especially if Sears is going to be more owned. But I see why you play him.
Yeah, right now the ownership is the other way around. Sears has less ownership. Maybe it's because he's been a bit of a gas can at times this year. But yeah, we'll just see where the ownership falls. Right now, I do like him, and you know me, I always like the Athletics. You don't really need to give me much of a reason. But if Scone is going to get ownership, right now he's at like 15%. Yeah, I'm a little bit interested in the Athletics for sure. Moving on here, we got the Braves hosting the Yankees. This game is really hot, I believe. So nice spot for bats. Max Fried is tentatively expected to start, but he said he's unsure, so we might get somebody else to pop in against the Braves. Right now, as it stands, don't really want to pick on Max Fried with the Braves. I think you can because the Braves have talent, but just don't want to do that. Spencer Strider has massive strikeout upside, and he's not expensive enough. So it's boom or bust, really, in this one across the board. Like Strider is the SP1 by default because of his price and upside, but it's still the Yankees, man. And it's like not a good spot for pitching weather-wise. So you could talk me to a Yankee stack, but if they're actually going to get ownership, I don't mind eating the Strider chalk.
Yeah, I don't think people are going to play the bats in this game. I really don't see the need to. Like Strider is going to be owned, so maybe that's why you play the Yankees, but they're expensive. It's a tough spot. Bellinger's over 5K, Jazz is over 5K, Judge is over 6K. I just think Strider, like the Yankees do strike out a pretty good amount against right-handed pitching. They do have power, obviously, so there's downside. Strider has been hit or miss since he came back from Tommy John himself, but he's underpriced. There's not a lot else to like on pitching this, to be honest, especially on the high end. So he's cheaper than Fried. He's cheaper than Lugo. He's going to be the most owned of that group by a lot, but I think it is viable. Fried, if he plays, is probably going to be limited. He left the last game with a blister. They said they're going to monitor him moving forward. So revenge game for him, but not a good spot. Not interested at all.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to Strider has the best ceiling of anybody on this slate, and he's only 9K. So he's coming at like 43% ownership. So absolutely, I'm going to look at the Yankees a lot more than I was probably going to. But it's going to be hard to get away from Strider. It's not like we're talking about Dylan Cease in this spot. Like if it was Dylan Cease and he was chalk at 9K, I'm going to look at the Yankees even more. But still, going to look at the Yankees a little bit. But obviously, Strider looks awesome because the slate's just not really that good for pitching. Charlie Morton taking on the Rays in Tampa. We know this park is really good for hitting. We know it's warm in Tampa. So Godspeed, Charlie Morton. I think you can play him, but because he's not really expensive, but I don't think I want to. Taj Bradley looks a little bit better. He has a decent price. He's super inconsistent, though. So it's like every time you think Taj Bradley is a good play, he tends to suck. And every time you don't want to play Taj Bradley, he's a god. So good luck figuring that one out. I just think you can go either way. Like he is a good value, and the Orioles have been super underwhelming all year, but he also sucks against lefties, and the Orioles have shit ton of power from the left side. So to me, it just feels like a play both sides situation, and I do actually like Baltimore quite a bit.
Yeah, the park is good for lefty power. It's essentially Yankee Stadium. So it's not a great park overall, but for lefties, it is very good. So like Henderson, Holiday, Colton Cowser, the left-handed Orioles do look good, like you said. Bradley himself is cheap, 7,200. Baltimore will strike out a little bit, so I think that's a viable path as well if you want to take that in a tournament. I have more Bradley here than anyone else in the game, but that's not saying a lot. I don't have a ton. Not getting to Morton, I think you can one-off someone like Caminero. Morton's been kind of mediocre against righties, and he's a good hitter, of course, so I don't mind a one-off of him, but Tampa Bay, not high on the list at all.
All right, yeah, agreed. I mean, given the park, you can, but I think if I'm going to do bats there, it's Baltimore. Reese Olson taking on the Rangers in Texas. We like to pick on the Rangers. I don't see an issue with continuing that here. I think Reese Olson's not like super cheap or anything, so that could be a deterrent. But the power numbers look good for him. He's handled lefties really well, and that's like where a lot of their power would come from in the first place. So I don't mind him at all unless he's going to be super owned. And then Patrick Corbin on the other side against the Tigers. I know picking on Corbin just doesn't really work, but I don't mind doing it because they have a lot of good righty power here, and that is where he struggles the most.
Yeah, more a mini stack. I think Detroit, like Torres, Torkelson, Winfield Perez looks decent to me. Riley Green, lefty's been pretty good as well. Actually, he hasn't at all. I was looking at Jahmai Jones. So like a mini stack of Detroit's okay. Not really on Olsen, not on Corbin at all, not on Texas at all. Another game that just doesn't look that great overall.
All right, moving on. We got Coors, baby. Rockies hosting the Twins. Chris Paddock taking on the Rockies. And on the other side, we have Kyle Freeland against the Twins. Naturally, the Twins have the best total of the slate, I believe, and as they should. They look great. I don't have a problem with them. Only issue would be ownership per usual. But I honestly like the Rockies quite a bit here. Obviously, you can talk me into Paddock just because the Rockies aren't good. But given the park factor and the fact that Paddock also isn't very good, the Rockies actually stand out quite a bit. So that is one of those situations where one side of a game is going to get ownership for sure, and the other side by default is just going to get a little bit overlooked. Colorado looks kind of interesting today.
Yeah, both of them. Minnesota should be the chalk of the slate. Like Buxton is up there with Ohtani as the top overall hitter on the slate. Mm-hmm. Royce Lewis is just wildly cheap yet again. He's been horrible, but he is a good hitter with power. It's Coors Field. He should be the chalkiest hitter on the slate, possibly, but no issue with it. Ditto for Correa. Willie Castro has good numbers against lefties. Go on down the board. Like, it's clearly the top stack on the slate. No qualms with it. Freeland has been kind of pesky, but whatever. It's Coors. It's not even a huge slate for a Friday, so don't really have any issue with Minnesota or Colorado. Like you said, Paddock against hitters from either side, really not good. Lefties in particular have had the advantage. So like Freeman, Tolia, Mickey Moniak, that would be my preferred mini stack. Still fine with guys like Freeman and Goodman in full stacks. So yeah, both sides look great. Zero pitching whatsoever in this game.
Oh yeah, I will say I don't want Kyle Freeland at all. But if the Twins are going to be mega owned on a decently sized slate, let's not ignore the fact that Freeland doesn't walk anybody, does not give up crazy power, and he induces ground balls like a lot. So he's kind of, you were saying he's pesky. It's exactly what it is. He's kind of an annoying pitcher to target because he just does not get shelled like he should. And it's the park factor and the Twins coming in is what's spiking that ownership. But I would not be that shocked if it doesn't go how we want it to go. Then we got Arizona taking on the Cardinals. This kind of feels like another spot where I'm not like super excited. I feel like the Cardinals are an okay spot here, but I just never like to play Cardinals. I always like Arizona, patient offense, lots of power. They get on base. I think if you want to play Arizona, I don't have a problem with that. It's just not sure if they're going to be a direct priority for me today.
I kind of love the Cardinals. Like, I think Thought has been unlucky, but he's allowing a lot of power. He's allowing double-digit barrels to hitters from both sides. The Cardinals get Ivan Herrera back, one of their better hitters tonight. Lefties in particular, so Burleson, Donovan, Gorman are going to look pretty good here. Herrera, Arenado, Contreras from the right side. I think there's a lot to like, and they're cheap. Herrera is the only one over 4K. So if you want to pay up for pitching and find a decent stack with slate winning upside, like they could hit 4 home runs against Brandon Pfaadt just based on the way he's pitched all season. So I like St. Louis quite a bit. I have zero interest in the pitching and very little interest in Arizona.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. I do like St. Louis, but I also hate St. Louis because every time they look like they're in a favorable spot, I play them and they do absolutely nothing. But you're not wrong. 203 ISO to the left side, equal opportunity sad sack. Pfaadt is giving up to the right side too, not really striking anybody out. He doesn't walk anybody, and the Cardinals just are not like a super imposing or consistent offense. But I do not disagree. I do think they look good. I'm always hesitant to actually fire up the Cardinals. We got Brewers in LA facing the Dodgers. Quinn Priester, have fun with that one. 10% walk rate against lefties. I don't really need to say anything else because it's the Dodgers. The wind's blowing out in LA too. Tyler Glasnow is back second game after returning from injury, and he had the All-Star break as well here. The numbers look really bad, but, it is what it is. Glasnow is super cheap. I know the Brewers are not an offense that, is necessarily one we go out of our way to pick on. You made some good notes in Discord too. I am okay with Brewers, but Glasnow just feels too cheap. Like he's going to be owned, but rightfully so.
Yeah, this is the both, like I've had several both sides situations I like. This is the one I like the most. Glass now at 8K, clearly too cheap for the upside. He threw 85 pitches in his first game back, so he's semi full from a workload standpoint. It's not a great spot for him, but he is underpriced. It's not a great pitching slate. He's one of my higher owned pitchers, and I think the field will agree. I think the Brewers are an awesome stack against him because he does not hold runners at all. The Dodgers, as a team, don't really hold runners that well. Milwaukee has the second most steals in the league. So if the guys get on, they're going to be running. And people aren't going to play for that. People don't generally play for stolen base upside to begin with. So guys like Trio, Yelich, Isaac Collins, Bryce Terang, Sal Frelick, if he's in, the Brewers run a ton. And if Cloudtown's going to be walking people, or if he's just rusty still, one game since April, essentially. So Milwaukee looks like a really good leverage stack against him. I will have plenty of exposure to both sides of that. And then the Dodgers look great. Maybe the top overall stack on the slate with Minnesota against Quinn Priester. He does have some ground ball ability, but guys like Otani, Betts, Smith, Teo hit the ball in the air. So love the Dodgers more as a mini stack because of salary, but very good stack overall.
Yeah, I mean, Glasnow is projecting for 23% ownership because of name recognition. That could go up. Like Castillo, we're going to talk about him in a second. He's got the second best projection. It's kind of splitting that second tier ownership behind Strider with Glasnow. But I mean, if he's going to be that owned, and you make good points, like I'm okay with the Brewers for sure. I always like to fire up offenses against guys who are high owned, anyways. But yeah, it is played both sides. I still want to play Glasnow quite a bit. Last game of the night, we got the Astros taking on the Mariners in Seattle. Brandon Walter taking on Mr. Home Run Derby champion Cal Raleigh and the Mariners. And then we have on the other side, Luis Castillo. Luis Castillo is bad against lefties and a god against righties. Astros only have righties. And plus, it's a really, really good pitcher park, probably the best in the league. I really like Castillo here. The only issue for me is Houston's always kind of pesky. Every time you think you can actually go against Houston with a pitcher, they just like shred them to pieces for some reason. And then also just Castillo. He's like just an inconsistent guy in general. And we got a lot of ownership coming here. 23% could be higher. That said, Castillo looks really good. If you just look at the numbers themselves, he looks good. And on the other side, Walter giving up a massive ISO against righties. So the Mariners have a ton of righty power. And of course, the best power hitter in baseball right now. So, I mean, despite the park, I kind of like the Mariners. And then, of course, Castillo just looks like one of the best pitchers of the board.
Yeah, you kind of said it all. Like Houston's righty heavy. Castillo's still good against righties. The only lefties in the projected lineup are Caratini and Taylor Trammell. Like not a very imposing duo right there. So it's not comfortable, but I think I'd rather pick on the Astros than pick on the Brewers. Like if I'm playing an SP2, like I said, I love Glasnow quite a bit anyway at the price, but Castillo, I do have a bit more of 8,500. It seems like a pretty safe spot. There's no such thing as safety in baseball whatsoever, even for pitchers. But great park for pitching. The park improves strikeouts. So Houston, not a great strikeout matchup, but kind of have to take what we can get on this slate on the pitching side. So no issue with it. I think Seattle's okay as a stack against Walter, but again, bad park for power. So like I'm okay with Julio Dumper and like Dylan Moore, but not really fully stacking the Mariners. That's probably a mini stack for me.
Dumper. Yeah. I think that's probably a good call. Did I ask you if you preferred a full or mini stack with the Brewers too? I was going to ask you that.
Full, but both are fine. Milwaukee's pretty cheap, so I think a full stack's viable.
All right, that is going to do it for us for our game-by-game breakdown here. That gives you just a taste of where we're kind of leaning. Taylor has the finalized pitcher picks and stacks that he likes the most in our Discord. You can take advantage of that, just $5.99 a month. Head to our Patreon, linked below this video. Hopefully this helps you out. We're going to try to push these out more often. And if it did, please hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel so you get alerted to future videos just like this. Thanks for watching and good luck.